To some eyewitnesses. One of the last people you heard talk said that she saw another plane. There has been a lot of speculation whether the plane that crashed in Somerset, and again, it is speculation, whether it may have been shot down. Remember, it was the last of the planes to crash. The other two had already gone to the World Trade Centers and the one near the Pentagon. Andy Sheehan joins us now. And Andy, you a couple of hours ago brought out the fact that there was this kind of speculation. Get any more information on it?
Well, we've been getting calls from Somerset County and sources there, you know, secondhand information and not reliable, but information and speculation that this plane may have been shot down. I mean, the question is, all these three other planes hit their target, yet this plane crashed in rural Pennsylvania and did not. So this gives rise. Now, the woman said that she had seen a small plane. She believed it's to be something like a Learjet. Anyway, we asked the FBI here. They were unaware and unable to answer questions, but said that they had gotten calls from every major media in the United States, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, everybody. And then I've contacted our colleagues at CBS in D.C., and they've asked the Pentagon. In fact, Defense Secretary Rumsfeld just took a question on this. Now, they are denying that there was any U.S. military action, U.S. Air Force action. So we will pass that along. We'll do that. There's other information as well that's coming around that we'll have to be looking at for them in the coming days and weeks. One is that there was a gentleman on the plane that contacted 911 in Greensburg.
He went to the state. His call was funneled to the state police barracks in Greensburg.
That's right. He called 911 and he was in the bathroom, and the sum total of that phone call that we can understand is that yes, we've been hijacked. And the man was in a high state of alarm, obviously, and there was no information, as we know, as to where this plane was headed. But we also learned that when the plane was 80 miles within Pittsburgh, the control tower at Pittsburgh tried to contact the plane. And at that point, the plane did not respond, but did veer up towards Erie, and then began circling back in a southeasterly direction. And our information is now that the control tower at Pittsburgh was evacuated at that point. And that would have been, you know, in our minds, a very highly unusual action. I've contacted the FBI about that. They do not want to comment about that because they call it, quote unquote, close to the investigation. But there are concerns about what was going on with the air traffic in the air at that time. You know, whether those planes were protected, and what does that say about what the authorities knew or feared about the target of the plane that eventually crashed in Somerset County.
We can say that one congressman said he was briefed by the Marine Corps, and he was told that plane, the one that crashed in Somerset County, was targeting Camp David. Now, right. Before you get to Camp David, you still have the White House and the Capitol building to go.
Right.
So how they came up with the information that was Camp David, who knows for sure? We don't know what conversations were going on between the pilot and the air traffic controllers prior to any of this, except air traffic control here in Pittsburgh, according to Mayor Tom Murphy and to County Executive Jim Roddy, was the plane that was not responding to calls from the Pittsburgh.
Did not respond, and then apparently they left the tower. And that's a highly unusual. Now, I understand that they returned to the tower at a short time after that, but the evacuation is something that authorities don't really want to comment at this point. Now, we are not in the business of reporting rumors, but in a situation like this, there are facts up in the air. We're just reporting what we know. But if you take a situation like this where, you know, you've already had the planes that have crashed at the Trade Center, and this is some time after that, you know, the United States military would have had to been in high alert, and it would certainly be possible
that this plane crashed about
F-16s,
an hour after the second plane crashed into the World Trade Center.
And they knew it was not responding to Pittsburgh. They knew it was on an errant course, so it was certainly possible that jets from Wright Air Force Base or any of these places could have been in the air, and that is speculation, but it's a probability. So these are questions that will have to be answered, you know, in the coming days and weeks, and I think we'll stay on top of that.
Well, given the description from the woman about the size of the plane and the color of the plane, it would not seem to be a military plane at all,
but not unlike one.
But not unlike one.
I mean, she talked about a big fin and a big tail fin, and you know. eyewitness testimony being what it is. I mean, and we are not getting any comment on what planes would have been in the area. I mean, obviously, they would have tried to track that down at this point, and we're not getting comments on that. So I don't want to, you know, what we have right now is the Pentagon denies that there was any U.S. military action against this plane, and we accept that. But there are questions around this that I think that we'll continue to pursue.
Well, to add fuel to the speculation, again, as we talked about before, the eyewitness with whom I spoke said that she heard a boom. Then she saw the Flight 93 wobble, bank to the right, and go nose down into the ground. What was that boom?
Right. Right.
I don't know, and
right.
Obviously we're not going to know until the investigators can go in and start piecing together some of the information. Again, this is all speculation. There is nothing to confirm it. The military, including Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld, has denied that the United States had indeed shot down a passenger airliner.
I can tell you that reporters all over the United States are asking these questions right now, and they are asking them of the highest people in the government, including the Defense Secretary. So, you know, we'll try to get answers, and very clear answers haven't been provided as to what was going on with this plane.
No, perhaps they're not going to give us any answers until they know a little bit more themselves.
Right.
They may be just as much up in the air as to what exactly happened to this plane as we are at this moment.
That's right.
I'm sure you'll keep on top of it for us, Andy.
I will.
Thank you so much.